The rain had stopped an hour ago, but gray clouds still hovered over the Carter household in Seattle, mirroring the atmosphere inside. 17-year-old Sophia Carter stood at the top of the staircase, arms crossed tightly over her chest, her hazel eyes glaring down at the woman who stood beside her father. Her grip on the wooden railing tightened as if she could somehow hold back everything that was changing. "She's not staying here," Sophia said coldly. Daniel Carter, her father, looked up at her with a mixture of patience and weariness etched into his tired face. "Sophia, we've talked about this. Hannah is my wife now." "Your wife, not my mother," Sophia shot back, her voice rising. "Why can't she just stay at her own place?" Hannah Thompson looked up with calm, sad eyes. She didn't flinch at the teenager's venomous tone, nor did she offer a forced smile. She simply stood there, holding her small overnight bag like it weighed 100 pounds. "I don't expect you to call me Mom," Hannah said softly, "but I hope we can at least get to know each other." Sophia laughed bitterly. "Why would I want to know someone who replaced my mother?" Daniel closed his eyes briefly and rubbed his temple. "Sophia, that's not fair. You know your mother and I." "Don't," she snapped. "Don't talk about her like it's all in the past. She's still my mom." With that, Sophia turned and stomped back into her room, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the picture frames on the wall. Silence followed. Downstairs, Hannah looked at Daniel. "She hates me." "She doesn't hate you. She's hurting," Daniel said with a sigh. "She's been holding on to hope that Emily and I would get back together, even though it's been years since the divorce." Hannah sat down slowly on the edge of the couch. "I don't blame her. If I were 17 and some woman moved in, I'd hate her too." Daniel sat beside her and placed a reassuring hand over hers. "Just give it time. I promise she'll come around." Upstairs, Sophia sat on her bed, clutching her phone. She opened the last voice message her mother, Emily, had sent her a few days ago. "Sweetheart, I know it's hard. I can't believe your dad moved on so fast. Just remember, no one can ever replace what we had. Stay strong, my little angel." Sophia's chest tightened. Her mother had always known how to make her feel loved, even from a distance. She hadn't lived with Emily for years, but her words still wrapped around Sophia like a warm blanket. And now, this woman downstairs was threatening to take that away. With a clenched jaw, Sophia made a silent vow. She would never accept Hannah. Not now. Not ever. The next morning, Sophia came downstairs late on purpose. The scent of scrambled eggs and toast hung in the air. She expected her dad to be cooking, but instead, it was Hannah in a simple blue sweater and apron, humming a tune as she flipped pancakes. Sophia didn't say a word. She sat at the table and took out her phone, eyes glued to the screen. Hannah placed a plate in front of her and smiled faintly. "I made your favorite, chocolate chip pancakes." Sophia didn't look up. "Don't pretend you know what I like." Daniel walked in just in time to hear the tension. "Sophia," he said in warning. But Hannah spoke up first. "It's okay," she said gently. "She doesn't have to like me." Sophia stood abruptly. "You're right. I don't." She left the plate untouched and stormed out of the house, slamming the door behind her. Daniel sighed deeply. "I'm sorry, hon. I thought this would be easier." Hannah offered him a small smile. "It's okay. Like you said, give it time." But as the door remained closed and the pancakes grew cold, a quiet thought passed through her mind. What if time wouldn't be enough? Monday morning arrived with a biting chill in the Seattle air. But Sophia's mood was far colder. She stormed into Lincoln High School, the buzz of students and the shrill bell fading into background noise as she made her way to her locker. Her mind was racing, not with schoolwork or prom or college like other girls her age, but with a plan. A plan to drive Hannah Thompson out of her house for good. "You look like you just murdered someone," said Jade, Sophia's best friend, sliding next to her with a coffee in hand. I wish, Sophia muttered, yanking open her locker. Jade blinked. Still hate her, huh? She made pancakes like she owns the place. Chocolate chip, even. She thinks she can win me over with my favorite food. She doesn't even know me. Wait, how'd she know you like chocolate chip? Jade raised an eyebrow. Sophia paused. My dad, probably. Or she stalked my Instagram. Either way, it's creepy. Jade sipped her coffee. So, what are you gonna do? Sophia's eyes narrowed with quiet fury. She wants to play house? Fine. I'll ruin the game. That evening, Sophia waited until her father left for his night meeting. She heard his car engine fade into the distance. Hannah was alone in the kitchen, humming to herself again as she unpacked groceries. Hey, Sophia said, her voice overly sweet. Hannah turned. Surprised. Oh, hi. Did you need something? Sophia twirled a strand of her hair innocently. I just wanted to say, sorry for this morning. I was out of line. Hannah's expression softened. You don't need to apologize. I understand. Can I help you with dinner? Sophia asked. I used to help my mom sometimes. That one word, mom, still cut, but Hannah smiled gently. Of course. I'd love that. Even made Hannah laugh once with a story about a cooking disaster involving her dad and a blender full of marinara sauce. Hannah looked so relaxed, so human, it made Sophia's stomach twist. But she didn't let herself hesitate. Later that night, once the meal was done and Hannah was taking a quick phone call in the bedroom, Sophia snuck back downstairs. She carefully removed one of the ceramic plates from the drying rack and, with a deep breath, let it slip from her hand. Crash. The sound was perfect, just loud enough. She ran into the hallway. And a few moments later, Hannah emerged from the bedroom. What happened? She asked, eyes wide. I was just putting away the dishes, Sophia said, eyes trembling on cue. And you yelled at me. You scared me. I yelled at you. Hannah frowned, confused. No, Sophia, I never. Don't lie. Sophia shouted. I was trying to help. Just like I did with Mom. And now you're treating me like I'm a nuisance. As planned, her dad walked through the door right at that moment. Sophia, he said, alarmed. What's going on? Sophia rushed to him. She screamed at me, Dad. I was just trying to help. Daniel turned to Hannah. Is that true? I didn't yell, Hannah said softly. I was on the phone. She dropped the plate. Why would she make that up? Daniel's voice was firm. Hannah's lips parted, but she didn't speak. She just looked at Sophia, then down at the shattered plate. Her silence sealed it. I think you should give her some space, Daniel said, voice tight. Maybe stay at your place a few days. Sophia stood behind her father, victorious. Hannah nodded slowly. If that's what you want. That night, Sophia texted her mom. Sophia, I think I made her leave. You'd be proud of me. Emily. Good girl. No one gets to replace me. Not while you're still there. But as Sophia stared at the screen, the satisfaction she expected to feel never came. She looked out her window at the driveway where Hannah's car had been parked. Now it was gone. So was her humming. So was the smell of home-cooked meals. The house felt colder again, but this time, it wasn't comforting. Sophia laid back on her bed, phone still glowing beside her. The silence felt heavier than ever. The next afternoon, a cream-colored envelope lay waiting on the kitchen counter when Sophia returned home from school. It was addressed in familiar cursive. The handwriting alone was enough to make her heart squeeze. To my dearest Sophia, from Mom. She didn't even bother taking off her backpack before tearing it open. Inside was a handwritten letter on rose-printed stationery, the kind her mother, Emily, always used. My sweet Sophia, I heard from your Aunt Rachel that the woman has moved in with your father. I can't tell you how it breaks my heart to imagine you under the same roof with someone like that. I know it's been hard for you, so hard, and I want you to know that you don't have to accept this new reality. You have every right to feel betrayed. After all the years your father and I were together, after everything we shared, he just replaced me. She's not your mother. She never will be. And no matter how kind she pretends to be, people like her always have agendas. They smile sweetly while they're driving wedges between fathers and daughters. I don't want that for you. Stay strong, my angel. I know it may feel like you're the only one who sees the truth, but I do too. From here, I'm cheering you on. And when you're ready, you'll always have a place with me. Love you endlessly. Mom. Sophia folded the letter slowly, her fingers trembling. Her mother's words felt like a warm blanket, one that wrapped around every doubt and gave her back her anger like armor. She wasn't wrong to hate Hannah. She wasn't being petty or cruel. She was protecting her family, wasn't she? And yet, the guilt still lingered. That night, her dad came home late. His shoulders drooped with exhaustion as he loosened his tie and sat down at the dinner table alone. The silence between them was awkward. She left, Sophia said, stabbing at her salad. Daniel didn't answer immediately. He simply nodded. She said it was temporary, he replied, his voice quiet. She didn't want to cause more conflict. Sophia felt a pang, almost disappointment, that Hannah hadn't tried to defend herself more, hadn't tried to stay. Maybe she realized she doesn't belong here, she said quickly to cover the silence. Daniel looked at his daughter carefully. Sophia, do you really believe that? Sophia frowned. Why wouldn't I? She never once raised her voice at you, even when you were cold to her. She was patient, even when I wasn't. You think that's fake? Sophia shifted in her seat. She's trying too hard. Mom said people like her smile while they twist everything behind the scenes. Daniel stared at her for a long, pained moment. Your mother's good with words. Always was. But that doesn't mean she's always honest. Sophia blinked. What's that supposed to mean? But he didn't answer. Instead, he got up, rinsed his plate, and disappeared into his office, leaving Sophia alone at the table. Later that night, Sophia found herself scrolling through Hannah's Instagram. She had never cared to look before. Most of the posts were of hospital corridors, a few selfies in scrubs, and some shots of sunsets from the medical center's parking lot. One caption caught her eye. You never know what someone is carrying until you choose kindness instead of judgment. Sophia stared at it for a long time. Then she glanced at the drawer where she had tucked away her mom's letter. Why did both women feel like they were telling the truth, but in two completely different ways? At school the next day, she told Jade about the letter. She sounds kind of manipulative. Jade said bluntly, I mean, no offense, Soph, but she's literally telling you what to feel. She's just being honest, Sophia muttered. She doesn't want me to forget who's my real mom. Jade paused, then leaned in. Okay, but why does being your real mom mean Hannah has to be the villain? Sophia opened her mouth to reply, but nothing came out. That night, the house was cold again. No soft humming in the kitchen. No smell of warm food. Just leftovers and silence. And, for the first time, Sophia felt something she couldn't name, something that felt a little like regret. The Carter house had never felt this quiet. It wasn't the kind of silence Sophia liked, the kind that meant she had the whole place to herself, or that she could play her music loudly in her room without anyone complaining. This silence felt empty. Her dad had barely spoken to her the last 2 nights. Not because he was angry, but because he seemed tired. Not the tired you get after work. The kind that seeps into the soul. Sophia sat at her desk, staring at the letter from her mom again. She had already read it 5 times. Every word was etched into her brain. But now, instead of comfort, the sentences felt sharp. They smile sweetly while they're driving wedges between fathers and daughters. Had Hannah done that? Or had Sophia done that by lying? Later that afternoon, Sophia found herself standing in front of her dad's office door, hesitant. She finally knocked. "Come in," Daniel said. She peeked her head inside. He was sitting at his desk, glasses on, flipping through blueprints. "Hey," she said. He looked up. "Hey." A beat of silence. "Can we talk?" she asked. Daniel leaned back in his chair, studying her. "Of course." Sophia stepped in and sat across from him. Her fingers fidgeted in her lap. I wanted to say sorry. For the other night. I overreacted." Daniel raised an eyebrow, cautiously. "Overreacted?" "I dropped the plate. On purpose." Her voice cracked. "I said Hannah yelled at me, but she didn't." "I lied." Daniel didn't speak for several seconds. When he did, his voice was quiet but clear. "Why?" "Sophia, I wanted you to kick her out," she admitted, eyes burning. "I wanted things to go back to the way they were." "To when?" he asked. "When your mom and I were still pretending to work things out while hurting each other. Or when I was sleeping on the couch and you were crying in your room after hearing us fight." Sophia looked down. "I know you miss your mom," Daniel continued. "But you only remember the best parts of her. That's what love does, it filters out the worst. Until all you have is the image you want to keep." "I didn't lie about her being a good mom," Sophia mumbled. "No," Daniel said gently. "But you've been blindfolded by that love. And it's made you hate someone who hasn't done a single thing to hurt you." Sophia felt the tears rising. "Why didn't you tell me sooner? About everything between you and Mom?" "Because I didn't want you to stop loving her," he said softly. "She's still your mother. But loving her doesn't mean you have to hate Hannah." Sophia sniffled, nodding. There was a knock at the front door. Daniel glanced toward the hall. "Can you get that?" Sophia patted out and opened the door, only to freeze. Hannah stood there, a Tupperware in her hands, a tired smile on her lips. "Hey," she said quietly. "I thought maybe Daniel hadn't eaten, and, well, I made too much stew." "Old habits." Sophia blinked. No anger, no resentment, no drama, just kindness. She stepped aside. "You can come in if you want." Hannah looked surprised. "Are you sure?" Sophia nodded. I think we need to talk." They sat at the kitchen table in the same spots as the first day. But this time, the energy was different. Cautious, softer. "I'm sorry," Sophia whispered. "I've been horrible to you." "You've been hurting," Hannah said gently. "I don't blame you. I lied. About the plate. And about you yelling. I made Dad mad at you on purpose." "I know. You do." Sophia looked up. Hannah gave a small, sad smile. "I work in an ER, Sophia. I've seen real cruelty. You were just a girl trying not to lose her family." Sophia's throat tightened. "But you didn't yell. You didn't even defend yourself." "Why?" "Because if I did," Hannah said, "your father would believe me. And you'd think I was trying to turn him against you. I didn't want to be that person in your story." Sophia felt something crack open in her chest. "I'm not ready to call you Mom," she said. "I wouldn't expect you to," Hannah replied. "But I think—" Sophia whispered, "I'd like to start over." Hannah nodded, eyes glistening. "I'd like that too." That night, Sophia watched from her window as Hannah pulled out of the driveway again. "Just for the night," she said. But the heaviness was gone. Because for the first time, Sophia wanted her to come back. And next time, maybe she'd make pancakes for her. It was a quiet Tuesday afternoon when Jade slid into the seat next to Sophia during lunch period. Her brows pulled together like she'd uncovered a conspiracy. "You're not going to believe what I saw," she said, placing her tray down without touching it. Sophia looked up from her yogurt. "This better not be about Max wearing sandals with socks again." "No," Jade said, lowering her voice. "It's about your mom, Emily." Sophia froze. "She was at Bluebird Cafe this morning. With a guy. Not your dad. They were like, definitely not just having coffee." Sophia blinked. "You sure?" "Positive. He put his hand on hers. She leaned across the table, laughed way too hard. You know the look. Sophia's spoon fell into her yogurt cup. Jade hesitated, then continued, I didn't want to say anything before, but this isn't the first time. My sister's seen her with that same guy at the art gallery downtown. She said they were holding hands. Sophia's stomach twisted. Maybe it's a business partner, she mumbled weakly. Soph. Jade said gently, I know you love her. I do. But I think she's been lying to you. For a long time. After school, Sophia didn't go home. Instead, she took the bus down to Portland, where her mom now lived. She didn't text first. She needed to see for herself. When she arrived, Emily opened the apartment door with her usual glamour, hair done, light makeup, soft perfume in the air. Sophia, this is a surprise. I needed to see you, Sophia said, forcing a smile. Emily hugged her daughter tightly. Did you miss me? Sophia didn't answer. She walked in and glanced around the pristine apartment. It looked more like a set than a home, and there on the dining table was a small card with the name Ryan written on it in calligraphy. A dinner reservation? A birthday card? Emily caught her looking and swiftly snatched it. Oh, that's just nothing. A client. A client who sends you handwritten cards? Sophia asked, her voice sharp. Emily paused. Soph, don't dig into things you don't understand. I understand just fine, Sophia replied. Why didn't you tell me you were seeing someone? Emily sighed and crossed her arms. Because I knew you'd take it the wrong way. The wrong way? I've been defending you. Hating Dad for moving on. Hating Hannah. And you're out here, dating while feeding me letters saying she's the manipulative one. Watch your tone, Emily snapped. I only told you what I had to so you wouldn't forget where your loyalty lies. My loyalty? Sophia echoed. Mom, this isn't war. You didn't need to make me hate her. Emily's expression turned stony. You're just like your father. Naive. Soft. No, Sophia said, her voice shaking. I'm just tired of being told what to feel. She turned and walked toward the door. Emily didn't follow. The ride back to Seattle felt like a blur. Sophia stared out the window as buildings and trees passed, her reflection swimming in the glass like a stranger. For the first time in her life, the mother she had idolized felt small. Not evil. Not a villain. Just flawed. By the time she walked back through the front door of her house, night had fallen. The lights in the living room were on. And Hannah was there, barefoot, sitting on the couch with her legs tucked beneath her, reading a medical journal. She looked up in surprise. Hey, you okay? Sophia nodded, throat tight. I just needed to be home. Hannah didn't ask for details. She simply got up, walked into the kitchen, and returned with a cup of chamomile tea. Sophia took it wordlessly. The warmth seeped into her hands like a comfort she didn't know she needed. You don't have to tell me, Hannah said softly. But I'm here. And that night, for the first time, Sophia didn't feel torn between two worlds. She just felt safe. The next few days in the Carter household were peaceful. Too peaceful for Sophia's comfort. The war she'd been waging for weeks, throwing emotional grenades, weaponizing guilt, building barricades of cold silence, had come to an abrupt ceasefire. And now that it was over, she didn't know what to do with herself. She wasn't used to quiet dinners where no one walked away from the table, or to hearing her dad humming while he cooked, or to Hannah quietly setting a cup of tea on Sophia's desk while she studied, saying nothing, then walking out. And somehow those small, unspoken kindnesses started to chip away at the wall around her heart. But not everyone in Sophia's world was ready to let go of the war. Wait, you're just being nice to her now? Jade stared at Sophia across the school cafeteria like she'd grown two heads. I'm trying, Sophia muttered, picking at her salad. But she literally replaced your mom. No, Sophia said. A bit sharper than intended, my mom replaced herself. Jade blinked, stunned into silence. Later that week, Sophia was cleaning the upstairs hallway when she noticed something strange. One of the old family photo albums had been moved from the bookshelf. Curious, she flipped it open. Inside were photos from her childhood, birthdays, vacations, holidays, most featuring her mother and father. In many, Emily wore her signature red lipstick and a laugh that looked picture-perfect. But the deeper Sophia flipped, the more the pictures changed. Fewer smiles. More stiff poses. One photo had a yellow sticky note on it. In familiar handwriting, it read, "Behind the smiles, there were cracks." Sophia's stomach twisted. It was her father's handwriting. That evening, something unexpected happened. A package arrived. It was addressed to Hannah. Sophia carried it inside, placing it on the kitchen counter. But her curiosity got the better of her. She leaned in and squinted at the return label. Emily Sanders. Her mother. The trap was set. Sophia stepped back, mind racing. Was this some kind of apology gift? A peace offering? Or another attack in disguise? When Hannah came home that night, Sophia hovered nearby. "Oh," Hannah said, surprised to see the box. "Who's it from?" Sophia tried to play dumb. "Didn't check. Want me to open it?" Hannah hesitated. "No. I'll do it." She carefully opened the box, revealing a slim stack of legal-sized papers wrapped in a plastic folder. Her eyes scanned the top page, and her face instantly lost color. Sophia watched with confusion. "What is it?" Hannah didn't speak. She flipped through the pages, each one sending deeper creases into her brow. "Is it something bad?" Hannah finally looked up. Her voice was tight but calm. "It's a request for a background check. Your mom filed it. On me. At the hospital." Sophia's stomach dropped. She tried to get you fired?" Hannah didn't answer directly. "These are copies of the complaint she submitted to my hospital's HR. She accused me of falsifying my nursing credentials, endangering patients, negligence. All lies." Sophia's face turned pale. "She told them that?" "I've already been cleared," Hannah added quickly. "My credentials were reviewed months ago. But she keeps submitting new complaints, hoping something will stick." "But why?" Hannah looked at her for a long moment. "Because she doesn't want me to be part of your life." Sophia sat down hard. "I didn't know she would go that far." "I believe you," Hannah said softly. "But this is exactly why I never fought back. Because if I did, it would just add fuel to the fire. And you'd be the one burned by it." Sophia felt like she couldn't breathe. She had tried so hard to be loyal to her mother, to protect her, to believe in the version of her who tucked her in at night and whispered, "You're my whole world." But now, the picture was cracking. "I need to tell Dad," Sophia said, rising. "No," Hannah said gently, placing a hand on her arm. "Not yet. Let him have a few more quiet days. He deserves that. But this isn't fair." "No." Hannah agreed, "It isn't. But fairness is a luxury. Grace is a choice." Sophia stared at her for a long time, and, for the first time, she saw Hannah not as the woman who replaced her mother, but as the woman who kept choosing to love, even when she had every reason not to. It started with a dull ache behind Sophia's eyes. She figured it was just a tension headache, too many exams, too many late nights, and definitely too much emotional whiplash. But by noon that Friday, the ache had become a pounding migraine. Her vision blurred, and every sound in the hallway echoed like a drum in her skull. She stumbled into the nurse's office, clutching her head. "You look pale, honey," the school nurse said, concerned. "Have you eaten anything today?" Sophia shook her head. "Just coffee. I thought I was okay." "You're not. I'm calling your emergency contact." Sophia blinked, eyes barely open. "My dad. He's out of town. He's in Olympia for the weekend." "I'll check the second contact." Sophia felt a wave of panic. She knew who was listed there. Not her mom. Not Emily. Hannah. 20 minutes later. Sophia lay curled up on the cot, the overhead lights dimmed, a cold pack on her forehead. She was half asleep when she felt a warm hand brush against her arm and a voice whisper, "I'm here." She opened her eyes and saw Hannah, still in her Harborview scrubs, her ID badge slightly crooked and worry etched into her face. "You came," Sophia mumbled. "Of course I did." Hannah crouched beside her. "You're burning up." "I think it's just a migraine," Sophia whispered. "But I feel sick. Like really sick." "We're going to the ER," Hannah said firmly. "Right now?" "I don't." "No arguing." "I'm a nurse, remember," she said, forcing a smile. "Let me take care of you." By the time they reached the emergency room, Sophia was barely conscious. Her body had begun to shake with chills, and she could barely lift her arms. Hannah didn't hesitate. She pulled her into a wheelchair, shouted for a fellow nurse, and began triage faster than any staff member could have. They rushed her into a room, started fluids, ordered a CT scan, and began blood work. Sophia drifted in and out of sleep, but every time she opened her eyes, Hannah was there. At one point, she whispered weakly, "Why are you still here?" Hannah leaned over, gently brushing Sophia's sweaty hair back. "Because you're my family too." 6 hours later, the tests ruled out meningitis. It was a severe case of viral flu, complicated by dehydration and exhaustion. Sophia was released just after midnight. Hannah drove her home, made sure she was bundled up, and placed a glass of water by her bed. As she turned to leave, Sophia caught her hand. "Don't go." Hannah hesitated. "Do you want me to stay?" Sophia nodded. Hannah sat on the edge of the bed, gently rubbing Sophia's hand. "You scared me, you know," she said softly. "I was so afraid I'd be too late." Sophia's throat tightened. "I used to wish you'd leave us." "I know. But tonight, I didn't want anyone else." Hannah smiled, tears in her eyes. "Then maybe we're getting somewhere." Sophia curled toward her like she hadn't done since she was a child needing comfort. "You don't have to be my mother," she murmured, half asleep, "but you feel like home." And for Hannah, that was more than enough. The next morning, Sophia awoke to soft light filtering through the blinds and the faint scent of something warm drifting from the kitchen. She sat up slowly, her head still foggy but no longer pounding. The glass of water on her nightstand had been refilled. A fresh blanket had been placed over her at some point in the night. And Hannah was gone. For a moment, Sophia felt a sting of disappointment until she heard the soft clatter of dishes downstairs. Hannah hadn't left. She was there, as always, quietly taking care of things in the background. Sophia wrapped herself in her robe and made her way down the stairs, still groggy. Hannah was humming to herself again, flipping a pancake on the stove, wearing one of Daniel's oversized hoodies and a messy bun. She didn't look like the villain Sophia had built up in her head for months. She looked like family. "Hey," Sophia said softly. Hannah turned, surprised. "You should still be in bed. I wanted to say thank you. For last night. For everything." Hannah gave a warm smile. "You scared me, you know." "I scared myself," Sophia said, taking a seat at the table. "It was like my body finally gave out." "You've been under so much pressure," Hannah said gently. "Holding on to anger like armor, it wears you down." Sophia didn't respond right away. Then she looked up. "Can I ask you something? And can you promise to tell me the truth?" Hannah's smile faded, but she nodded. "Always." "Why did you marry my dad?" Sophia asked. "I mean, really. Was it because you loved him? Or did you want something from us?" Hannah turned off the stove. She wiped her hands on a towel and walked over to the table, sitting across from her. "I met your dad at the hospital," she said quietly. "He brought in an old man who'd fallen off a ladder on one of his job sites. Most people would have just called 911. He carried the man himself, stayed with him the whole night. He even paid the hospital bill when the guy's insurance didn't cover it. Sophia blinked. That sounds like Dad. I thought he was married, Hannah continued. When I asked, he said, I used to be. But my daughter is still the best part of that. Sophia's throat tightened. We became friends first. He was kind, steady. We talked about books, movies, life. He didn't flirt. He didn't chase. He just showed up. And I realized, after years of dating men who made me feel small, that showing up was the rarest kind of love. Sophia swallowed hard. And me? You were always part of the picture, Hannah said. From day one. He never separated you from his heart. So neither did I. Sophia looked down, eyes stinging. I never wanted to replace your mom, Hannah added softly. But I also didn't want to be treated like a ghost in my own home. I wanted to be someone real to you, not just a shadow you pushed away. Sophia stood up and walked around the table slowly. Then, without a word, she wrapped her arms around Hannah's shoulders and held on tightly. I'm sorry I made you feel like you didn't belong here. Hannah's voice broke. You didn't have to say that. But thank you. Later that afternoon, Sophia walked into her dad's office. Daniel looked up from his laptop. Hey, kiddo. Feeling better? Yeah, a lot better. She sat down across from him, folding her hands. Dad, did you know Mom tried to get Hannah fired? Daniel's eyes darkened. I had a feeling, but Hannah didn't want me to say anything. She was trying to protect me. She always has. Daniel said quietly. Sophia bit her lip. I think I need to stop making excuses for Mom. Daniel leaned forward, reaching across the desk to take her hand. Loving someone doesn't mean you have to believe everything they do is right. Sometimes the people we love hurt us, and we have to learn how to love them with boundaries. Sophia nodded. I think I'm ready to try. That evening, Sophia opened a blank note on her phone and stared at it for a while. Then she typed, Hi, Mom. I think we need to talk. Honestly, this time. She didn't hit send yet. But for the first time, she didn't feel like she was betraying anyone by wanting the truth. She was just ready to stop living in a war built by someone else and start building something real. Sophia sat on her bed, phone in hand, thumb hovering over the send button for nearly 10 minutes. The message was simple. Hi, Mom. I think we need to talk. Honestly, this time. Not cruel. Not accusing. Just open. And yet, sending it felt like crossing a river she wasn't sure how to swim back from. She finally exhaled and hit send. The message marked as delivered. Then, silence. Hours passed. Sophia cleaned her room, did a bit of homework, helped Hannah fold laundry in the living room, even watched an episode of a medical drama with her dad and pretended not to roll her eyes when he pointed out every inaccuracy. Still, her phone stayed quiet. At 9:41 p.m., the screen finally lit up. A message from Emily. Now you want honesty? After everything? Sophia's heart sank. I'm not doing this over text, she replied. Can we talk tomorrow? In person? There was a pause. Then, fine. I'll meet you at that park you loved, the one by the bookstore. After school. The next afternoon, Sophia stood by the rusting swing set at Maple Glen Park. The one she used to run through barefoot as a little girl. The benches were faded now and the grass patchy, but the air smelled the same, like pine needles and old wood. Emily arrived 10 minutes late, as always, dressed in a beige trench coat and oversized sunglasses. She looked like she belonged in a glossy magazine, not in a park with cracked sidewalks and squirrel-bitten benches. You look tired, she said, sitting down beside Sophia. You okay? I was sick, Sophia answered flatly. Hannah took care of me. Emily raised an eyebrow. Of course she did. Sophia turned to face her. Why are you trying to ruin her life? Emily scoffed, reaching into her purse for a cigarette before thinking better of it. I don't know what she's told you, but she didn't tell me anything. You did. When you sent a complaint to her hospital. When you lied about her license. When you wrote me letters making her look like the enemy. Emily blinked, then leaned back. You really think I'm the villain here? I think, Sophia said carefully, that you're scared I might stop loving you if I start loving someone else. Emily went quiet. I've spent months defending you, Sophia continued, voice shaking. I hurt people for you. I lied for you. And I thought I was being loyal, but I was just afraid to see the truth. Emily's jaw tightened. So what's the truth then? Sophia took a deep breath. The truth is, I still love you. I probably always will. But I also love Hannah. Not like a replacement. Not instead of you. Just separately. She's earned that. Emily didn't answer. Her fingers twisted the strap of her purse. I'm not picking sides, Sophia added. But I'm done letting one love poison the other. Emily looked away, her voice lower than usual. I didn't want to lose you. You won't, Sophia said. But I'm not going to lose myself either. I want something healthier. Something honest. Emily looked at her daughter with something unreadable in her eyes, pride, maybe, or grief, or both. You've grown up, she whispered. Sophia nodded. I had to. That night. Sophia walked through the front door of her house and dropped her backpack by the stairs. Hannah was in the kitchen, slicing apples. Sophia walked in slowly, then said, Can I ask you something? Of course, Hannah replied, looking up. Would it be okay if I started calling you something other than Hannah? Hannah froze. You don't have to say yes, Sophia said quickly. I don't think I'm ready for Mom yet. But maybe something in between. A smile broke across Hannah's face, slow and warm. You can call me whatever you want. Sophia considered for a moment, then smiled back. How about just the letter? For now. Hannah's eyes glistened. She repeated softly. I love it. Sophia stepped forward and hugged her. Not cautiously. Not halfway. A full, tight, heart-opened hug. And Hannah held her like she had always been waiting for that moment. March 24th used to be a day filled with awkward silences and forgotten candles. After the divorce, birthdays were complicated. Sophia usually spent them with her dad, while her mother sent a video message or ordered a last-minute gift online. No big dinners. No cakes with names and icing. Just small acknowledgments, check marks on a calendar. But this year felt different. This year, was in the house. The morning started with the smell of cinnamon and vanilla wafting through Sophia's room. She rubbed her eyes and sat up, confused. Her phone buzzed with a text. No school today. Birthday rule. Come downstairs. Sophia smiled, just a little, and climbed out of bed in her pajamas. When she got to the kitchen, a small banner was taped across the cabinets. Happy 18th, Sophia. Underneath it was a stack of homemade waffles, a tall glass of orange juice, and a vase with a single white daisy. Stood by the counter in a blue cardigan and messy ponytail, flipping the last waffle onto the plate. Happy birthday, kiddo. Sophia blinked. You made all this? I wanted your first adult birthday to feel like someone actually planned it. No one's ever made me waffles. Well, get ready, said, sliding a birthday crown across the counter. Today's full of surprises. They spent the morning together. No school. No drama. Just two women, one still growing, one quietly healing, baking cupcakes, painting their nails, and playing card games. At one point, let Sophia win on purpose, but Sophia didn't call her out on it. Daniel came home early, holding a little wrapped box and a bouquet of lavender. My two favorite ladies, he grinned, kissing Sophia's head. The three of them sat in the living room, eating cake. Flipping through old photos, yes, even the embarrassing baby ones. As the sun began to set, turned to Sophia. There's one last thing. She reached behind the couch and pulled out a flat, wrapped gift. Sophia carefully opened it. Inside was a framed photo. Not just any photo, but one from last week. The night Sophia had been sick. She was asleep on the couch, pale and wrapped in a blanket, and Em was sitting beside her, gently brushing her hair back. It wasn't staged. It wasn't perfect. It was real. Beneath it, in silver pen, Em had written, "You'll always have a place to fall no matter how far you fly. Em." Sophia stared at the photo, throat tight. "You had this printed?" "I asked the nurse at the hospital to snap it. I didn't know if I'd ever get the moment again." Sophia stood up slowly and threw her arms around Em, pressing her face into her shoulder. "I love you," she whispered. And, for the first time, it wasn't a whisper coated in confusion or obligation. It was clear, honest, free. "I love you too, Sophia," Em said, holding her close. So much. That night, long after the candles were blown out and the plates were cleared, Sophia stared at the photo now sitting on her nightstand. She thought about everything that had happened. The lies, the pain, the blame, and the unexpected grace that had bloomed in the middle of it all. For the first time in years, her birthday didn't feel like a reminder of what had been lost. It felt like the beginning of everything that had been found. The invitation came as a surprise. One sunny Thursday afternoon in May, as Seattle stretched into the early days of spring. Daniel walked into the living room holding 3 plane tickets and a sheepish smile. "Don't be mad," he said, handing them to Sophia and Em. Sophia squinted at the print. Airplane Seattle Santa Barbara. 3 tickets. 1 week. Family suite. She looked up. "We're going to California?" Daniel shrugged. "Thought it was time we made some memories. The kind that aren't tangled up in the past." Em blinked. "Santa Barbara? There's a beach house I used to go to as a kid," Daniel said. "It's simple. Quiet. Thought we could escape for a bit." Sophia couldn't stop smiling. "I've never been." "Good," Daniel said. "Then the memories start fresh." The plane ride was filled with laughter, earbuds passed back and forth, and a mild debate over which travel snacks were superior. Em swore by trail mix, Sophia demanded sour gummies, and Daniel hoarded pretzels like currency. When they landed, the scent of salt and orange blossoms drifted into the open windows of their rental car. The beach house wasn't fancy. White shutters, faded blue porch, a hammock swinging in the breeze. But the moment they stepped inside, Sophia felt something she hadn't in a long time. Peace. They spent the first 2 days walking barefoot in the sand, collecting shells, and building crooked sandcastles. Sophia and Daniel grilled on the patio while Em read in the hammock, legs swinging lazily like a kid. On the 3rd night, they built a bonfire on the beach. Sophia sat with a hoodie wrapped around her, her toes buried in the cool sand. The fire crackled. Waves crashed softly in the distance. Em handed her a marshmallow on a stick. "You ever roasted one of these properly?" "Defined properly," Sophia smirked. "Without lighting it on fire like a medieval torch." Sophia grinned, held it above the flames. "So, I'm not saying it for you. I'm saying it so I can breathe again." Emily's voice cracked, just barely. "So what now? You're done with me." "No," Sophia whispered. "I'm done letting your pain be mine." She ended the call. Back at the beach house, Em was on the porch with a book in her lap. She looked up as Sophia returned, hair windblown, face unreadable. "Everything okay?" Sophia nodded. "I think I just took my first real step forward." Em smiled. "How does it feel?" "Terrifying," Sophia said with a laugh. "But also, like I can finally see the path." Em patted the empty seat beside her. Sophia sat down and leaned against her shoulder. And together, they watched the waves roll in soft, steady, and endlessly patient. It was their last morning at the beach house. The sun stretched across the floor in golden slants as Sophia stood by the window, her journal open in her hands. She hadn't written in weeks, not since the early days of her anger, when every word bled frustration and confusion. But today, the words came differently. Slower, softer, not a rant, not an apology. Just something that had been waiting inside her for a long time. She uncapped her pen and began to write. Dear Mom, there was a time when I would have done anything to defend you. I saw you through a filter of memories, the way you used to hum when braiding my hair, how you smelled of lavender and coffee, the sound of your laughter filling up the whole house. But memories are tricky. They only show us what we choose to keep. I held onto the best parts of you and ignored the cracks. Maybe because I thought if I let go of the image I had in my head, I'd lose the love with it. But I didn't. I still love you. And I always will. But I also see you clearly now. Not as a hero or a villain. Just as a person, flawed, hurting, sometimes selfish. But still someone who gave me life and tried, in your own way, to give me love. I'm choosing to keep the good memories. But I'm not going to live in them anymore. I'm building something new, something honest, even if it's messy. I hope one day you'll do the same. Love. Sophia. She folded the letter gently, slid it into an envelope, and tucked it into the back of her journal. She didn't plan to send it. Some things aren't meant to be sent. Some things are meant to be released. Downstairs, Daniel was loading the car. Em was wiping down the kitchen counters, humming to herself again, a quiet tune that now felt comforting rather than foreign. You ready? Em asked as Sophia walked in. Sophia nodded. Yeah, actually. I think I've been ready for a while. They smiled at each other. As they locked the door behind them and stepped onto the porch one last time, Sophia took one last look at the little beach house. Not because she wanted to stay, but because it had become a marker, a place where she shed the skin of who she had to be and stepped into the truth of who she was becoming. That night, back in Seattle, Sophia unpacked in silence. She slid her journal into the top drawer of her desk, letter still inside. She didn't need to reread it. She had already lived it. And, for the first time, the voice in her head wasn't her mother's. It was her own. It was almost midnight when someone knocked at the front door. Sophia was in her pajamas, brushing her teeth. When the sound echoed through the hallway, soft but urgent, she frowned, toothbrush still in her mouth, and peeked out into the hallway. Daniel was already asleep. Em was folding laundry in the guest room, but looked up, puzzled. Another knock. Louder this time. 3 slow raps. Pause. Then 2 quick ones. Sophia felt her chest tighten. Something about the rhythm made her feel 11 years old again, curled on the stairs, listening for her parents' voices in the night. She opened the door slowly, heart thudding. Standing on the porch, wrapped in a long trench coat and soaked from the light Seattle rain, was Emily. Her makeup was smudged, her hair pinned back too tightly, and her eyes. Her eyes looked tired in a way Sophia had never seen before. Mom, she said, barely a whisper. Emily gave a small, shaky smile. I didn't know where else to go. They sat in the living room. The silence between them interrupted only by the distant ticking of the hallway clock. Em watched from the stairs for a moment, then quietly slipped away, giving them space, as always. Emily held a cup of tea but didn't drink it. Her hands were trembling. I had a fight with Ryan, she said eventually. The guy from the cafe. Sophia nodded. I told him I needed time. He told me I needed therapy. Another pause. Maybe he's right. Sophia didn't speak. She wasn't angry. Not anymore. Just open. Emily looked up. I've been awful to you. To all of you. Sophia nodded again, slower this time. Yeah, you have. Emily's face crumpled. But Sophia's voice was calm, steady. I'm not saying that to hurt you, she continued. I'm saying it because I need to stop pretending it didn't happen. Emily swallowed. I was jealous. Of her. Of you being happy without me. You didn't lose me because you were imperfect, Mom. You lost me because you used your pain like a weapon. I know. Emily looked down at her lap. It's just, I never thought you'd choose her. I didn't choose her instead of you. Sophia said quietly. I chose her when you left. When you wrote letters instead of showing up. When you told me to pick sides instead of giving me space to feel. Emily wiped her eyes. Do you hate me? No, Sophia said. But I don't need to make you my hero to love you. The door creaked, and Em peeked in, gently. Everything okay? Emily stood, wiping her eyes quickly. I should go. You can stay, Em said, surprising both of them. Just for tonight. If you need to. Emily blinked. Even after everything Even after, Em said softly. We're not built to hold onto bitterness forever. Sophia watched as her two mothers, so different, so broken, so human, shared a moment of fragile understanding. Emily hesitated, then nodded. And for the first time, the house wasn't divided by ghosts of the past. It was filled with whispers of grace. That night, Sophia lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about all the doors that had opened and closed over the years. Some slammed, some creaked, some were never truly locked. And this one? This one had finally opened just wide enough to let healing walk in. The next morning, the dining room table had 3 chairs pulled out instead of 2. It felt strange, awkward even. Like they were staging a scene none of them knew how to perform. But there they sat. Daniel, sipping his black coffee quietly. Em, carefully slicing strawberries for the pancakes. And Emily, cradling her tea mug like it might fall apart in her hands. Sophia stood at the entrance for a second, taking it all in. She'd imagined this moment before, her two mothers in the same room, exchanging cold stares and forced pleasantries. But it wasn't like that now. No fire, no drama, just a kind of tense stillness, like the air before rain. Morning, Sophia said as she joined them, sliding into the empty third chair. Morning, sweetheart, Daniel said. Emily gave a small nod. Hi. Sophia looked around, eyes flicking from one woman to the other. I think we need to talk, she said softly. Daniel looked surprised, but said nothing. Em put down her knife. I agree. Emily cleared her throat. Okay. Sophia took a deep breath. There's been so much damage. Some of it done to me. Some of it done by me. Her voice didn't shake this time. Not even when she turned to Emily. Mom. I've spent the last year trying to protect the memory of who I thought you were. And when things didn't line up, I blamed everyone else. Especially her. Emily looked down. I deserve that. I'm not here to punish you. I just need you to hear it. And then I need to let it go. She turned to Em, and Em. I know I made it hard for you. I lied. I pushed you away. I saw you as the enemy when you were just trying to make space in a home that didn't feel like yours yet. Em's eyes were glassy. I never blamed you. I know, Sophia said. But I blamed myself. For too long, silence settled over the table. Not cold, just necessary. Daniel exhaled and leaned forward. Soph, you don't owe any of us a performance. Just your truth. I don't know what this version of our family is, Sophia admitted. But I want it to be real. Even if it's messy. Even if it's just a room with 3 chairs and a lot of unspoken history. Em reached across and took one of Sophia's hands. Emily hesitated, then took the other. For the first time, Sophia sat between them, not torn, not choosing sides. Just held. Later that afternoon, as the sun poured through the living room windows, Emily packed her purse quietly. Sophia walked her to the door. I'll give you space, Emily said. But I'll always be here. In whatever way you're willing to have me. Sophia nodded. That's all I ever needed. Emily looked back once before stepping out. And for the first time, her absence didn't leave a hole. It just left space for growth. That night, Sophia passed the hallway mirror and caught a glimpse of herself. Not the angry girl who used to hide behind sarcasm and silence. Not the wounded child trying to glue her parents back together. Just a young woman, one who had learned that forgiveness isn't forgetting. It's releasing. And love isn't possession. It's presence. In the quiet house behind her, 2 chairs still waited. And for the first time, she felt ready to sit at the table, as herself. Summer in Seattle was short but golden, cool breezes, late sunsets. The faint scent of fresh grass and coffee everywhere you went. Sophia stood on the porch, boxes stacked behind her, and took a long breath of the warm air. In her hand was a folder marked University Housing, Fall Term. She'd just finished packing her things. Her bedroom, once cluttered with school books, childhood posters, and half-used journals, now looked like a stranger's room, tidy, bare, a goodbye in progress. Em stepped outside and handed her a water bottle. Don't forget to drink. You always forget. I know, Sophia said with a smile, uncapping it. Thanks, Em. The nickname still made Em pause with emotion every time she heard it, but these days, the pause came with a smile, not surprise. Daniel came out a minute later. Car keys in hand. You girls ready? Sophia nodded, then looked back at the house. It's weird. What is? Daniel asked. This place. I used to feel like it was haunted by fights, silence. The in-between moments. Now it just feels like home. Daniel chuckled. You're allowed to miss it. I'm not sure I miss it, Sophia said softly, but I think I'll always carry it with me. They loaded the car in quiet teamwork. 3 people who had learned to communicate without raising voices, who understood the rhythm of one another's silences. When the last box was shut in the trunk, Em handed Sophia a brown envelope. Don't open it until you're alone. Sophia raised an eyebrow but didn't ask. The ride to the university was filled with low music, half-laughed memories, and Daniel grumbling about Seattle traffic like it was a personal betrayal. When they arrived, it took less than an hour to get everything into the dorm room. Em made the bed. Daniel checked the outlets. Sophia sat cross-legged on the floor, watching them with quiet affection. As they prepared to leave, Em hugged her long, this time without hesitation. We're just 10 minutes away, but we're always a home if you need one. I know, Sophia whispered. Daniel ruffled her hair like he used to when she was 10. Call if you need anything. Or if you just want to yell about bad cafeteria food. They left her at the dorm door, and she watched them walk down the hallway together, shoulders close, steps in sync. Later that evening, as the sky turned lavender outside her dorm window, Sophia remembered the envelope. She opened it. Inside was a single photograph. It was from the beach trip, the 3 of them around the bonfire, mid-laugh, Em's hand resting lightly on Sophia's knee. Behind them, Daniel was poking at the flames with a stick, looking mock serious. Written on the back in Em's handwriting. You're not a product of what you've lost. You're proof of what love can rebuild. M***. Sophia closed her eyes, holding the photo to her chest. She wasn't the broken girl anymore. Not the girl caught between 2 mothers. Not the one who had to lie, manipulate, or hurt to feel heard. She was building her own home now, with truth, with softness, with the unshakable knowing that she was loved. No matter how messy the beginning had been, this was her foundation. The phone call came on a rainy Thursday. Sophia was in the university library, halfway through her psychology paper, when her phone buzzed quietly on the table. She picked it up, expecting a text from Jade, or maybe a reminder about laundry hours. But it was from Daniel. 11:42 a.m. Dad calling. A strange sense of dread curled in her stomach. Hey, Dad. He didn't wait for greetings. Sweetheart, I need to tell you something. 10 minutes later, Sophia was in an Uber, heart pounding, fingers trembling as she tried to steady her breathing. Em had collapsed at work, fainted during a shift at Harborview. They'd run tests, found her dehydrated, low on iron, but also something else. Something uncertain. Daniel hadn't said the word, but Sophia felt it like a scream inside her chest. Something's wrong. When she rushed into the hospital room, she found Em sitting upright, for attached to her wrist, her face pale but calm. Always calm. You didn't have to come, Em said gently. They think it's just anemia. Sophia sat down hard in the chair beside her. Don't do that. Do what? Try to protect me from things I deserve to know. Em looked down, ashamed. Sophia reached out, taking her hand. I'm not a kid anymore. You don't have to carry it all. There was a pause. Then Em said quietly, they found a growth in my stomach. Small, probably benign. They're doing a biopsy tomorrow. Sophia swallowed the lump in her throat. Is it cancer? They don't know yet. Silence. Sophia squeezed her hand tighter. Then whatever it is, we'll face it. Daniel arrived an hour later. Face worn with worry, but eyes soft when he saw Sophia sitting so protectively by Em's side. I brought soup, he said, holding up a paper bag like it was a peace offering. From that weird Vietnamese place? Em asked with a crooked smile. The one with the handwritten menu and the grumpy owner, he confirmed. Your favorite. The three of them sat in the hospital room as the rain tapped gently on the windows. Not a crisis. Not yet. But the beginning of another kind of storm. And this time, Sophia wasn't scared of the weather. That night, Sophia sat alone in the hospital corridor while Em slept, Daniel down the hall speaking with the doctor. She stared at the beige tiles, remembering all the times Em had walked these same halls in her nurse scrubs, holding other people's hands, whispering comfort in sterile rooms. And now here she was, the strong one. The healer, needing to be held. Sophia pulled out her phone and opened the old note, the letter she never sent to her mother. She added one more line at the bottom. P.S. I think I finally understand what love is. It's not perfect. It's just showing up again and again, no matter how afraid you are. She hit save, then tucked the phone away. And when she walked back into the room and saw Em asleep under the hospital blanket, one hand still curled as if waiting to hold hers, she walked forward and took it, not as a daughter who owed, not as a child who begged, but as someone who had finally grown strong enough to stay. The chairs in the waiting room were hard, their cushions thin and barely disguising the cold steel beneath. The lights above buzzed faintly, and the ticking of a nearby wall clock felt like a countdown no one could control. Sophia sat between Daniel and a vending machine humming in the corner. She hadn't said much since Em was wheeled in for her biopsy. 2 hours, the doctor had said. Maybe less. But time didn't pass the same in waiting rooms. It dragged like wet cloth, heavy with what-ifs. Daniel was flipping through a magazine without reading it. Every few minutes, he'd put it down, sigh, rub the back of his neck, then pick it up again. You okay? Sophia asked softly. He gave her a tight smile. I've been in this hospital 1,000 times, but never like this. Sophia leaned against his shoulder. She's going to be okay. Daniel nodded. But his silence said what he didn't. Sophia stood and walked to the window, arms crossed, eyes fixed on the clouds outside. They rolled like smoke across the sky, thick, gray, indecisive. She remembered being a child and waiting in a room just like this. Her mom had a knee injury. They waited for hours while Sophia tried to make her laugh with knock-knock jokes. Back then. Emily smiled. Back then, waiting didn't feel like drowning. Now, the stakes were different. Now, Em was behind those sterile double doors. And Sophia had something to lose. The door opened suddenly, and a nurse stepped out. Both Sophia and Daniel jumped to their feet. She's awake, the nurse said. A little groggy, but asking for her daughter. Sophia blinked. She said daughter? The nurse smiled. Yes, just one word, Sophia. Sophia felt her chest ache, sweetly, deeply. She nodded and followed. The room smelled like antiseptic and sleep, Em lay propped against two pillows, her face pale but calm. Sophia stepped inside quietly. Em turned her head, her eyes softening the moment they met hers. "Hey, sweetheart. You scared me," Sophia said, sitting beside her and brushing back a strand of hair stuck to her cheek. "I scare myself sometimes," Em said, voice raspy but full of warmth. Sophia took her hand. "How are you feeling?" "Like I got punched in the stomach by a robot," she joked weakly. They both chuckled because laughter was easier than fear. "I heard you asked for me," Sophia said. "I always will," Em replied. "No matter what." Sophia bit her lip. "I'm not ready to lose you." "You're not going to," Em said firmly, then added, "but even if one day you did, you'd still have every part of me inside you. All the love, all the lessons, that doesn't vanish." Sophia leaned her forehead against Em's hand. "I don't care if you're not my birth mom. You're my mom." Tears rolled freely now, neither of them trying to stop it. Em whispered, "That's all I've ever wanted to be." When Daniel stepped in a few minutes later, he found both of them curled together in the hospital bed. Sophia's head on Em's shoulder, their fingers still intertwined. "I'll bring soup," he said with a smile, backing out. "Make sure it's the weird kind," Em called after him with a smirk. That night, back at her dorm, Sophia sat by the window with a journal in her lap. She wrote only one sentence before closing the cover. "This isn't the family I expected, but it's the one I'd choose every single time." The envelope arrived on a Monday, tucked between a campus newsletter and a coupon for half-off noodles. Sophia almost missed it, almost tossed it aside, until she saw the familiar looping script on the front. "Sophia Carter, in case you still want to hear from me. Emily." She hesitated before tearing it open. Inside was a single sheet of stationery and a photograph. "Dear Sophia, I thought about calling. I picked up the phone 100 times. But words come out crooked when I try to say them out loud. So I'm writing this instead because I think I owe you the kind of honesty I couldn't give before. I've spent most of my life pretending. Pretending I was strong when I was breaking. Pretending I didn't care who your father loved as long as you loved me. Pretending I was the only one who could be your mother. Even when I was doing everything not to earn it. And the truth is, I was afraid. Terrified. That if someone like Hannah, someone kind, patient, and good, stood next to me, you'd see the difference. You'd choose her. And I couldn't bear to be the one not chosen. But I've realized something. You didn't choose her instead of me. You chose the version of love that stayed. That showed up. That listened when you whispered instead of shouting. I envy her, Sophia. But I don't hate her anymore. I hope she holds your hand through all the things I missed. I hope you call her when you're afraid and that she answers the way I sometimes didn't. And I hope you know, I love you, even when I failed you. Especially then. Love, Mom. Sophia sat on her dorm bed, letter trembling in her hands. The photo tucked inside was one she hadn't seen in years, a picture of the three of them from when she was 5. Her cheeks were round. Her pigtails crooked. Her parents stood behind her on either side, smiling in a way they hadn't for a long time after. She stared at it for a long while, then slid it into the back of her journal, right next to M's beach bonfire photo. That night, when she came home to visit for the weekend, Sophia found an envelope on her pillow. No name. No label. She opened it curiously. Soph, I know you got a letter today. Daniel told me. I don't need to know what it says. But I want you to have this one too, not because I'm competing. And not because you need to choose, but because this is the first time you've had two mothers who both want to love you with open hands. Being your stepmom has been the hardest, messiest, most beautiful thing I've ever done. There were moments I wanted to give up. Moments I thought I was just a stand-in until your heart healed. But I've come to understand something much more powerful. I was never meant to replace anyone. I was meant to show you that love can begin even in broken places. That family is not a bloodline, it's a lifeline. One built from choice, grace, and 100 tiny moments of showing up. You don't owe me anything, Sophia. But if you ever feel lost, I'll still be standing at the door. Yours, M. Sophia didn't cry. Not this time. She just folded the second letter with reverence and slid it beside the first. Then, with quiet resolve, she took both letters, two voices from two women, and placed them in a single envelope. She labeled it, "Truths I'll Carry," and tucked it in her suitcase because home wasn't a place anymore. It was everything these women had taught her to hold. Autumn came gently to Seattle that year. Golden leaves lined the sidewalks like spilled treasure, and the air carried the scent of damp earth and cinnamon. Sophia stood on the porch of the Carter house, a small suitcase in one hand and a pie dish in the other. It was the first time they'd all be under one roof again, her, Daniel, and Emily. Thanksgiving. The idea had come from Sophia herself. Just one meal, she'd said over the phone. Not because everything's fixed, but because healing can happen over warm food and awkward small talk. And because I'm ready to sit at a table we build together, not one we inherited. There had been silence at the other end of the line. Then, slowly, Emily had said, "Okay." Inside the house, the table had been extended, two folding panels added to the ends, mismatched chairs pulled from the garage, the good dishes taken down from the high cabinet. Sophia helped Em set the napkins while Daniel basted the turkey. Emily arrived last, holding a bottle of wine and wearing the same lavender scarf she used to wrap around Sophia's neck when she was little. No one fought. No one flinched. They simply moved, carefully, gently, like people who understood that peace doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing not to reopen the wound. They ate. They laughed. They told stories. Sophia shared a poem she wrote for a class that made Em cry softly into her napkin. Daniel went on a 10-minute rant about grocery store parking lots. Emily made fun of herself for burning the cranberry sauce, and Em offered to teach her a better recipe next time. Next time. The phrase slipped into the room like sunlight through curtains. Unspoken, but felt. After dessert, as they lingered in the warm kitchen light, Daniel brought in something covered with a sheet. "I built something," he said, "with some help from an old friend." He pulled the sheet off to reveal a new dining table, simple, sturdy, made of walnut wood, smooth with clean lines and slightly uneven legs. "I thought maybe we could use something new," he said. "Not to erase anything, just to begin again." Sophia ran her fingers across the wood grain. "Can we scratch our names into it?" she asked. Em laughed. "With a knife or a pen?" Emily, surprising everyone, pulled a marker from her purse. "How about both?" They each took a corner. Daniel wrote, D, the fixer. Em wrote, M, the one who stayed. Emily wrote, E, still learning. Sophia wrote, S, the heart of it all. Later, as the guests trickled out and the house returned to its quiet rhythm, Sophia stood alone by the table, now dimly lit by the chandelier above. She thought about the girl she used to be, the one who slammed doors, whispered lies, and clung to an image of family that only existed in fragments. That girl was gone, but in her place stood someone stronger. Someone who had learned that forgiveness isn't weakness. That love isn't a battle to be won. And that families aren't born perfect. They are built piece by piece like a table that holds space for everyone, even the ones who took time to arrive. The rain had stopped an hour ago, but gray clouds still hovered over the Carter household in Seattle, mirroring the atmosphere inside. 17-year-old Sophia Carter stood at the